Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Remain standing, please, for a moment of silence. We are deeply saddened to learn of the recent discovery of unmarked graves found near a former residential school. All town of New Tecumseh flags have been lowered to half-staff in honor of each of the lives lost and the difficult reminders of this tragic times in our nation's history. We recognize this painful past and encourage our community to work together to build a better future. Thank you. We'll go to the awards and recognition. And I'd just like to read a little prepared speech here. Strong communities are built with the help of dedicated volunteers who offer their time, energy, and skills for the benefit of others. In New Tecumseh, we have a great history of volunteering and community involvement, and our residents selfishly give their time every day. Volunteers are the heart of our community and demonstrate the ultimate form of public service. We have seen our residents come together during these extraordinary times, answer the call of service, and make an invaluable contribution to our vibrant community life. To each of this year's nominees, please accept my warmest and sincere gratitude and appreciation for your support and service. Your actions and dedicated efforts are making a lasting and meaningful impact in our town and beyond. We recognize the compassion, dedication, and leadership shown by our town's devotee volunteers who inspired hope for a brighter future. Congratulations, and thank you all for what you do to make New Tecumseh a great town that it is. This time, our first recognition is Larry Keel. Larry is the recipient of the 2021 Senior of the Year Award and has been an active member of the community for his entire life. Join us together in recognizing Larry as the 2021 Senior of the Year as nominators Carla Beckett and Linda Beckstead. Larry is the former mayor of the town of New Tecumseh, serving the residents from 1998 to 2003. Larry has a strong record as an educational leader in New Tecumseh, both as a teacher and a principal of Banting Memorial High School. He is a dedicated community leader with a passion for helping others, including countless hours of fundraising for Knox Presbyterian Church, St. Paul's Catholic Church, the Banting Homestead, Gibson Center Restoration Project. Larry was also a member of the Stevens Memorial Hospital Foundation and Doctor Recruitment Committee. Congratulations, Larry. And Larry.
Now, through your worship, I'm not sure if Larry has sound. Maybe I'll let his niece in and see if maybe she can assist.
Here we go.
Yeah. Just you.
We can see you. Okay. Okay. Just be patient for a second with us.
Jimmy has to turn that right off. Jimmy, just turn the volume off.
Okay. All right.
Can't see you. Jimmy's got the camera.
Oh,
Jimmy,
So
you
just
need,
turn this.
Jimmy, you need that camera with this
Okay.
mic.
Now we can try.
Okay, we're just getting feedback because of you having two computers next to each other. So I don't know if there's another computer, if you want to move it to another room.
Am I on sound now?
Yes, go ahead, Larry.
He's,
I just wanted to thank Carla Beckett and Linda Vested for nominating me. Both of these ladies are great community support.
Thank you, Larry. Our next recipient is Wendy Gabriel. And Wendy is a recipient of the 2021 Virtual Wall of Honor Award. Join us tonight in recognition of recognizing Wendy as a 2021 Virtual Wall of Honor recipient is Carla Harris. Wendy's dedication to the community has been recognized for her work on individuals such as her work with the Tottenham Chamber of Commerce, the South Simcoe Legacy Council Spelling Bee, the Tottenham Community Weeks events, Heartstroke Big Bike fundraiser, and a volunteer at the Wildlife Service, just to name a few. Wendy has made an immeasurable positive impact to the community and helped to enrich the lives of all. She is well respected by all her peers and is a great role model with an outstanding character and always has a positive, enthusiastic attitude. Wendy truly is a testament of what an outstanding volunteer is meant to be. Congratulations, Wendy.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm very, very honored to receive this award tonight. I would like to thank all of the members of council, my nominator, Carla Harris, and of course, it's extremely exciting to join the Wall of Honor. I actually Googled it today to see who the past recipients were. And wow, what a tremendous list of individuals on that wall. So I'm completely humbled and honored to receive this. Thank you so much. And I truly look forward to going back to our new normal so that we can get back out there and do more for and with the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yay.
Next, we have Hayden Lacey, which we all know Hayden. Hayden is a recipient of the 2021 Student Volunteer Award for her volunteerism with Banting Memorial High School. She played a significant role on student council and was former student mayor. Hayden also volunteered in many other school initiatives, including most recently, the Relay for Life event. Hayden also shares her time and efforts within the community, accumulating over 300 volunteer hours. With her dedication to the school and community initiatives, she has learned to give back and become a great leader. Congratulations, Hayden.
I would like to say thank you to His Worship the Mayor and Council for giving me this award. I've been volunteering before high school as well, and it's granted me many different opportunities, and I've met many great people throughout the past few years. And I hope that in the future that I'll be able to volunteer more, especially when COVID's over.
Thank you, Hayden. Unfortunately, Jacob Bruce, who is a recipient for the 2021 Student Volunteer Award for his volunteerism with St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic Secondary School, unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. Jacob has over 600 hours of community service, supporting his local parish and community. He is led by example, encouraging other youths to become involved in the community. Jacob truly emphasized what youth can do, given the resources and the opportunities, and his efforts have made a positive impact on the community. We are grateful for Jacob's many hours of dedicated volunteer work. Congratulations, Jacob. All right, council, that's. Is there any other councillor who wish to recognize anybody here? Councillor Sainsbury.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was reading the Herald and I noticed that our famous potato farmers are keeping us on the top of the world and keeping our town of New Tecumseh in the headlines, and Beattie's Distillers. A couple of years back won and were voted the world's best vodka. And this year they have won the 2021 LCBO Elsie Award for the best of Ontario spirits. So they're still keeping us on the map. And of course, Mr. Beattie himself was a volunteer firefighter for almost 40 years with the town of New Tecumseh, and I guess Alliston prior to that. So I just thought I'd mention that because I know that the potato farmers keep Frito-Lays and Doritos and all the good places stocked up with things so we can have munchies when we watch the hockey. Thank you.
Councillor, see another Carla. Councillor Jeff.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just recently, we came across a movie that had been done in 1946, Main Street of Cookstown, and we've had it put over to a USB stick. So we're going to donate it to the Museum on the Boyne, which includes Innisfil along with ESSA, West Goldenberry, and Adjla, Toss, and ESSA, and Innisfil, yes. So we have this video done, and we will donate it to the museum. It was done by Barry's uncle, Ira Wilson. He was Reeve of Cookstown at one point. And it's a kind of a neat video of the Main Street of Cookstown. As well, we came across a VHS movie done by the Alliston Historical Society, all about Alliston. So we've had it put over to a USB stick too. So we will give both of them to the museum that they'll be able to use for displays or something for the museum that they'll be able to use it. So we're kind of happy to have these finds in the basement.
Thank you very much, Councillor Jeff. Anyone else? All right, I'll go to the clerk to identify any items to add or delete from the agenda, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. There are no items to add or delete. Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies, Your Worship. We do have the COVID-19 update from the CAO.
Look for a mover in a second, and then we resolve that the agenda for the council meeting held on June the 28th, 2021 be confirmed as circulated. Moved by Councillor Webb, second by Councillor McClellan. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
You're on mute, Mel.
Thank you. I think that The one thing I've learned through all this COVID is you're muted. All right, disclosure of pecuniary interest, anyone to identify it now or when the item comes up? And we'll start
Mayor
with Councillor Beattie.
Thanks, Your Worship. I'll declare on item CW42 as a family member owns property that abuts the town-owned lands. And I'll also declare on CS1 as one of the applicants as a family member. Thanks.
Councillor, I can't see you. Oh, Councillor Lacey.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to declare on CS1 as unrelated to one of the applicants.
Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor Mills. CW46, please.
Thank you. Anyone else that I missed? The mover and seconder be resolved at the minutes of the council meeting dated June 14, 2021 be adopted circular. Moved by Councillor Sainsbury. Deputy Mayor, questions, Councillor Sainsbury.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wondered if we maybe could add something on page 7 of 8 of the minutes on item CW55. I had a phone call, and when Mr. Orland Kirkness spoke, he spoke with a written submission from Marilyn Holstrom, and her name is not mentioned as she wasn't a deputation, but she did send documentation that he read into the record. So should her name please be added to the minutes?
Thank you.
She had permission to do that because she wasn't well that night, physically well.
All in favor of the motion? Motion's carried. Thank you. I'll go to the clerk to identify items for separate discussion and the reasons thereof, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. The items requiring separate discussion are CW42, request for permission from John Beattie Farms Limited to display a sign on town property. CW46, indexing of town development charge, bylaw 2018-116. And CS1, Mayor Student Bursary Program 2021 applications. And the CAO's report, COVID-19 update.
You're on mute again, Mayor Mills.
I'll go to council to identify items for separate discussion. And Councillor Noye.
Thank you, Worship. Under communications, I'd like to say something. Address council, please.
Thank you. Councillor McLeod.
Thank you, Worship. CW55, please.
Thank you. Councillor Beattie.
The item's already been pulled. Thanks, Your Worship.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'll go back to the clerk to summarize all items to identify for separate discussion. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Under communications, Councillor Noye will have an address to provide to council. CW42, request for permission from John Beattie Farms Limited to display a sign on town property. CW46, indexing of town development charge, Bylaw 2018-116. CW 55 award tender T21-22 new town hall renovation and addition. CS1 Mayor Student Bursary Program 2021 applications. And lastly, COVID-19 CAO update.
Mover and seconder be resolved that the items on the committee of the whole meeting report and the committees of the whole closed meeting report dated June 14, 2021, and the committee of the whole planning public meeting report dated June 16, 2021, with the exception of those items identified for separate discussion, be approved and the recommendation therein be adopted. And further, the communication items on the council meeting agenda dated June 28, 2021, with the exception of those items identified for separate discussion, be received. And mover and seconder, please. Councillor Jebb and Councillor Foster, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. This time I'll go to Councillor Noye.
Thank you, Your Worship. Your Worship, Deputy Mayor and Council. Regarding comments made with respect to my virtual attendance at the Committee of the Whole meeting of June 14th, 2021, and further to my comments made to the Allison Herald following that meeting. I regret my actions and comments, and I wish to apologize to Council and our residents. I am sorry for my behavior, and I'm sorry for the comments that I made to the press. I am committed to ensuring that this will not occur in the future. I listen to my constituents, and I sit on council with an open frame of mind at all times. During my time on council, the town hall project has been discussed on several occasions, and I have been consistent in my position. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Noye. First item is CW42. We have a conflict of interest moved by Councillor Jebb, second by Councillor Sainsbury. Be resolved that the report of Min 2021-23 be received. Further, that the signed proposal from John Beattie Farms Limited to permit a ground sign on town property at the southwest corner of the 13th line in the Tottenham Road in Austin be approved. Any questions? All in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you. CW46 or CW46, Councillor Foster.
I have a pecuniary interest, Mayor Milne. I'm going to step off the meeting.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, that be resolved that report of FIN 2021-17 be received. Further, that the development charges rate referred to the Schedule B and C of the bylaw 2018-116 be increased effective July 1st, 2021 by 1.9% pursuant to the indexing provision bylaw 2018-116. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor McClellan and Councillor Noye. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. CW56. Read the motion out and then we'll put it on the table. Look for a mover and seconder. Resolve that the report of PRC 2021-13 be received. And further, that the deputation of Alan Master, Monica Watson, Joe Feiner, Monica Archer, Carolyn Millen, Lori Nevels, Jessica Jarvis, Gary Coleman, Shawnee Mackay, Pat Callan, Orlando Kirkness, Matthew Casey, Nancy McBride, Tyler Lauder, Carrie Courts, Marianne Archer, Reality OSET be received, and further that the tender T21-22 be awarded to Matson Construction Limited for the construction and renovation works to deliver the new town hall at 25 Albert Street in Allison with accordance with their proposal dated June 10, 2021, for the upset fee of $14,526 plus applicable taxes. And further that the project contingency allowance in the amount of $1,015,000 plus applicable taxes be approved, within which the general manager of infrastructure and development or their designate is authorized to make amends to the scope of work. And further than a bylaw be enacted, authorizing the mayor and clerk to enter into agreement with Massman Construction Limited in accordance with tender T2122. Mover in a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Noye, second by Councillor Sainsbury. And Councillor McClellan. I think what we're going to do, Councillor McClellan, we're going to allow everybody up to 5 minutes to speak, and then we'll call the vote. And just remember that this has been here 12 times. So new item. Councillor McClellan, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask just a couple of questions because we ran a little bit late last time, so I didn't get any of my questions answered. I do have a question for staff. Will cost overruns over and above what we have set aside for the contingency, will those come to council for approval?
I'll go to Director Dan Burt.
Through you, Mayor Milne, to Councillor McClellan. Yes, that's correct. Anything that would exceed the contingency amount identified in the report would definitely be back before council for consideration.
Councillor McClellan, next.
My next question is the 22 green elements listed in the visioning report from May of 2017. Are any of those being implemented?
We'll go to Director Burton.
Through you, Mayor Milne, to Councillor McClellan. I don't have the specific list in front of me at the moment, but I can certainly provide council with a reply in terms of the items that are being incorporated. I do know that several of the items are being included in the new building.
Councillor McClellan.
I mentioned this last meeting. I was told we weren't adding the library because they removed the 1950s, the oldest part of the building, which they had to do. Except in this visioning report, the same report from May of 2017, they have the library positioned in the northwest corner. So I'm wondering if I can get the reason as to why the library kind of just disappeared from this plan, because where it's situated, it's not even close to the old 1950s part of this building. And it's in all I actually, cleaning out my laundry room, found the visioning report from May of 2017. So it doesn't look like it would have anything to do with that oldest part of the building coming down. So I'm just wondering why and how the library disappeared from this plan. I mean, in the beginning, it was this hub. It was going to be this community hub. Well, a community hub has to be more than just an administration center. It needs to be a reason for the community to come together. And the library, I think, was part of why council was calling it a community hub and why the architects were calling it a community hub. But then somewhere along the lines, the library just disappeared from the plan. So I know that the public space that we have, or the meeting room space that we have in this new administration center, is almost 9,000 square feet. The library needs about 10 to 12,000 square feet. So I'm just wondering if anybody actually knows why the library disappeared from the plans. And then I have one more, Mayor Milne, and that's it.
Director Burton.
Sure, through you, Mayor Milne, to Councillor McClellan. As it relates to the library component on the visioning report that was completed, the library was identified as part of the programmatic details to be included in the new build, along with the meeting room, staffing space, et cetera. And it was identified in the visioning report as, again, I don't have it in front of me exactly, but that's northwest corner was actually an addition to the building and not part of the existing footprint. So when it came down to costing elements, we identified there was a future add the library to the site. So we, at this time, identified it as a future development to be added later. But from a programmatic side, the total program was 10,000 square feet over what was remaining after the 1956 portion was removed.
Councillor McClellan?
Have we ever done any estimates as to what the operational expenses are going to be on this building? I know it's just about 3 times the size of what we have now. Was that factored into the plans? Is the operational and is it possible to see what the estimates are? Oh, and I'd like to call a recorded vote.
Thank you, Councillor McClellan. Director Burton, please.
Through you, Mayor Milne, to Councillor McClellan. Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. Through you, Mayor Milne, to Councillor McClellan. We have reviewed the program requirements from an operational costing perspective and estimated those out to what we anticipate them to be. That is being worked on as part of the budget preparation for 2022 and will be included as a service enhancement request as part of the budget considerations when we go forward.
Thank you. Anybody else on council? Been a recorded vote called, Madam Clerk. Oh, wait, Deputy Mayor.
Sorry, Your Worship, I didn't know if other members wanted to speak. I just want to point out, because I know it's new information like I was told, but just to let everybody know, since our last council meeting, I have received further increases in materials and supplies for the construction industry than I am, and it's actually going right across the board, and the prices continue going up. So I just want to ask council one last time that not to go ahead with this tender at this time. All businesses are tightening their belts. The full fallout is yet to begin from this pandemic. Obviously, the public clearly does not want to go ahead at this time, the majority. So, Your Worship, I just clearly think we need to put this on hold and wait for the economy to rebound and wait till we're through this pandemic. And you know what, I'm just kind of hoping that we can look towards strong financial fiscal responsibility, which will prevail once we're through the pandemic. So I just still think the timing's wrong, Your Worship. I just wanted to point out that I'm continuously seeing increases in my materials and supplies.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Anyone else before I call the vote? Okay, Madam Clerk, sorry, Councillor Harris and McIntyre.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just last week, I want to speak to Joe Feiner called me a liar, and he was speaking about some comments that I made in a debate. Generally, this kind of discourse in our meeting is not the standard. We try to speak to each other in a respectful manner and share ideas and bounce around ideas. In reference to that, the fact is that I did say that I would look at other options, and we did look at other options. We had a whole report that went through all the other options. And as I said at that meeting, at that debate, that I was in support of the town hall being at Albert Street because it was always the least expensive option, and it continues to be. As far as the public clearly not wanting this, I would beg to differ with Deputy Mayor Norcross, as Mayor Milne clearly campaigned on this, and he won by a large majority. So the timing of this as well, you're right, the timing of this isn't great. It would have been good if we had done it 4 years ago. Thank you very much.
Any other councillor wish? Councillor McClellan.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to amend the motion that no more money will be allocated to this project over and above the contingency.
Seconder. Deputy Mayor. Just get the clerk to read the motion.
That's an amendment to the motion. You have to vote on the amendment.
Yes. Amendment, Madam Clerk.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor Milne. So the amendment, we will have to vote on it separately. And should it be approved, then it will amend the motion as read out by Mayor Milne. So the amendment is that no more funds will be approved or spent on this project over and above the contingency as outlined in report PCR. Sorry, I'm just looking for the report number here. Over and above the contingency as indicated in this report. Okay, so we'll vote on the amendment now. So we do have a mover. We don't have a seconder. Is there a seconder for the motion?
Yeah, we have the deputy mayor.
The deputy mayor. Okay. So all those in favor of the amendment, please raise your cards up. Okay, and all of those opposed, please raise your cards up. Oh, Councillor Foster, can you just put your card up again?
I'd like to abstain with some comments.
Okay, and that vote is defeated.
All of the, Councillor McClellan.
Then I'd like to put another amendment on the floor that any cost overruns over and above the contingency are the responsibility of the contractor. We had this problem with the Tottenham Library, which put us years behind schedule and put us in negotiations where we had to spend more in the budget. So I'd like an amendment that any cost overruns above the contingency and what is already budgeted be the responsibility of the contractor.
We have a seconder. Request to speak, Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor Milne. I appreciate what Councillor McClellan is trying to do, but I think that maybe I don't see the town lawyer on the phone. We are entering into waters here that you cannot enter in. And I'm somebody who's voted against this project. So I abstain from these things because they're unworkable at this stage of the game. 6 people have voted in favor. I have voted consistently against this from day one. But I cannot in good conscience support motions that have no legal merit or no legal standing and will put us in jeopardy. So I would simply ask the solicitor to comment about these before we go down a road where there's absolutely no merit base behind, as I believe, in these particular motions.
Thank you. Mr. Feely.
Yes, I'm here. I've heard the comments. I would be very concerned at this stage when you were this far down the road in the public tendering process to pass motions that would potentially undermine it or put us in a contractually difficult spot. You can't predict the future in terms of how a contractual relationship is going to unfold. Motions to say that we won't spend more money or less money at this stage doesn't factor in. Either you're going to accept the tender or you're not. If you don't accept the tender at this point, I think you definitely put yourself in potential jeopardy.
Thank you. Supplementary, Councillor Foster.
Not really, just a comment that, so I find myself in a peculiar situation in such that I am opposed, and I don't need to repeat myself again. And I believe that the 6 people that are going to vote in favor of this, I presume, have given this the due consideration that it deserves. I'm not so sure that's the case. I have my own beliefs, but I have no more to say in the matter at this point in time.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
The rest of us not get to speak.
Did you still wish to go forward with your amendment, Councillor McClellan? Is there any comments on the amendment before we call the vote? I'm sorry, Council, was there a seconder for Councillor McClellan's amendment? Yes, the Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Okay, so without further ado, I will ask all those in favor of the amendment, and it reads as follows: that any costs over and above the contingency be the responsibility of the contractor. All those in favor? Thank you, Council. All of those opposed to the amendment? Thank you very much, and that amendment is defeated.
Go back to the original motion, and Councillor McClellan has asked for a recorded vote. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this vote is on the main motion as read out originally by Mayor Milne. All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, and the vote is carried.
Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor Milne. Now that the new administration center has been approved, and in consideration that the capital project financial administration and reporting policy has been updated and was ratified earlier, I strongly believe that this council wants to ensure that this project comes in at the very least within budget, and that substantial completion is achieved as predicted. Tendering is but one step in the process. The successful execution of the project is something that still requires council's very close attention. To that end, I submit the following motion for consideration: that bi-monthly reporting be provided effective first meeting in August through to building occupancy, to include but not limited to progress updates, schedule impacts, initiations of contingencies with explanations. And that motion is already in the hands of the clerk. And so I would put that on the floor.
And a second, Councillor Harris McIntyre. And go to Lori, are you with us? Lori Bedford.
To Councillor, or through your worship to all of council, I'd like to point out that on today's council minutes, there is a policy that was created called Capital Project Financial Administration and Reporting Policy, and that the town is currently, we're constantly working with many high-profile projects, and it was proposed in this policy that we would report on a quarterly basis our top high-profile projects. Of course, this be one of them. So I would like to suggest that this policy, which is CW 44 tonight, will address the concerns of Councillor Foster, and council will see this project along with several other projects.
Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor Milne, through you to Ms. Bedford. In the third line of my motion, I referred to the capital project financing administration and reporting policy. And so thank you for your comment about that. And I've read the policy in depth. I still would like to stick with my reporting. I believe that there's a couple of issues, and I don't think that the reporting policy covers issues relating to progress updates on projects. I could be wrong, but I would still like to go with the motion that I've asked for. It's simply information for us to that's valuable to council. We do have a strong fiduciary duty, and I have no doubt that all the other councillors and the mayor and deputy mayor have want to pay very close detail to the finances of this project and everything else in the municipality. So I'd like my motion to stand, please.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll support Councillor Foster's motion. And I believe in the report coming forward, it was quarterly. Councillor Foster, if I'm not mistaken, you would like it bi-monthly. The updates which deviates from the next report that's coming forward. And I think it's paramount with an expenditure of this magnitude that not only council, but more importantly, the public are kept informed of the progress and timelines, especially the potential for cost overruns. The public expect, rightfully so, to be kept informed throughout this project. So a bi-weekly progress report, I certainly think is something that should be required and something that we should produce separate from the other reports that will be coming forward. So I'll second your motion, Councillor Foster.
Councillor Foster.
Sorry, I think I heard the deputy mayor say bi-weekly. I did not ask for bi-weekly. I asked for bi-monthly. Please.
Well, Councillor Foster, if I said bi-weekly, I was certainly referring to bi-monthly. So my apologies on that. But yes, I'm definitely referencing a bi-monthly, not a quarterly update on the progress. Thank you.
Councillor Sainsbury.
Thank you, Worship. Through you to Laurie Bedford. Would this be done by Dan Burton or yourself or by a team of members of staff working with the Matheson constructors?
I imagine it'd be Director Bird, but I'll go to Laurie.
Through your worship to Councillor Sainsbury, this would be a team exercise because there was a template that was suggested in this capital reporting policy. And the template, it was only a suggestion because it could be, certain areas could be enhanced. And there are financial information, construction information, billing and scope information. So it's a detailed report. And it would not only, again, be just for the town hall, it would be for all our high profile projects, such as the Tottenham water main or the 14th line or any of our capital improvements, the fire hall, all of those high profile projects would be identified in that report.
A supplementary, your worship.
Supplementary.
Through you to Ms. Bedford. Because I don't think they're starting till July 12th, when would that make the first report that's being expected of staff?
Ms. Bedford.
The end of July? Or?
Through your worship to Councillor Sainsbury, these would be done on the quarters. So it would be Q3, which would be in late October. That would be the first one.
Thank you.
Councillor Lacey.
Thank you, Your Worship. I actually agree with Councillor Foster's motion. I don't want this project to get hidden in with some other projects. I think identify it, look at it separately on its own merits, and watch it as it progresses through its completion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comment. Anyone else before I call the vote? Madam Clerk, to read the motion, please.
Thank you, Mayor Milne. So the motion is that bi-monthly reporting for the Administration Center project be provided effective the first meeting in August 2021 through to building occupancy to include but not limited to progress updates, schedule impacts and reasons thereof, initiations of contingencies with explanations.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion? Motion's carried. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor Mills.
Is CW CS1, and we have two conflicts of interest, Councillor Beattie and Councillor Lacey. Would Mover and seconder be resolved with the report of admin 2021-24 be received, and that staff be directed to inform the successful applicants that they have been awarded the 2021 Mayor's Student Bursary, and further that $32,000 be funded from the Mayor's Charity event reserved to provide 16 students applicants with their bursary of $2,000 each. Moved in a second, moved by Councillor Jeff, second by Harris McIntyre, all in favor? Carried, thank you. And at this time we'll go to PM3 for the CIO's update.
Thank you, Mayor Milne. Good evening, Mayor Milne, Deputy Mayor Norcross, and members of council. As I'm sure you've all heard, the Ontario government is moving the province into step 2 of its roadmap to reopen at 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday, June the 30th. In order to enter step 2 of the roadmap, Ontario needed to have vaccinated 70% of adults with 1 dose and 20% with 2 doses for at least 2 weeks, ensuring a strong level of protection against COVID-19. As of June 23rd, over 76% of the population in Ontario ages 18 and over have received 1 dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and over 29% have received their 2nd dose. More than 13.3 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine have been administered province-wide, and I'd like to just advise council that there's a very, very large number that have been administered in our own town through the work between the town and the health unit and Stevenson Memorial. Our vaccination clinics are continuing both in Tottenham and Alliston, and everyone involved is doing an outstanding job with that effort. Step 2 of the roadmap focuses on the resumption of more outdoor activities and limited indoor services with small numbers of people where face coverings are worn with other restrictions in place. The complete list of what is permitted in Step 2 is also available on the province's website. But just to draw out a few of the things that include Step 2 includes outdoor social gatherings and organized public events with up to 25 people, and indoor social gatherings and organized public events with up to 5 people. With regard to town services and programs, as we enter Step 2 on Wednesday, the following will be in effect. And this, I'll add, is a happy, I guess, report for us to provide to council after so many months of dialing things back and limiting our services. It's always nice to advise council of all the things that will be opening up and starting over the next little while. So outdoor sports without contact or modified to avoid contact with no specified limited number of people or teams participating with restrictions is permitted. And as such, our ball diamond, soccer fields, and the outdoor pad at the Tottenham Community and Fitness Center will reopen, and we have requested that users continue with contact tracing protocols. Our summer day camps start next Monday with all COVID-19 precautions in place, including screening. As the maximum number of people for indoors is 5 in Step 2, we will not reopen our recreation facilities at this time to anything but camps, but we will look forward to the day in the near future where we can reopen those. I'm also very pleased to announce that the outdoor Rotary Pool will open to the public on July 1st with a free swim on Canada Day. Pre-registration is required due to COVID-19, and users can book a time online. We are also currently taking ice bookings for summer ice at the NTRC. However, we will not be looking at opening that until at least Step 3. The new Tecumseh Public Library is preparing to open our 3 branches effective Monday, July 5th, with limited capacity and time limits in place, but please watch the library's website for more details to come. We are also planning to reopen the town hall to public walk-ins for customer service starting on Monday, July 5th. Meetings with staff can continue to be pre-arranged by appointment, and we would strongly recommend that if any of our public or our partners in our service provision require meeting with our staff, that they phone ahead and pre-arrange appointments, especially for folks in our engineering and planning area. The Joint Operations Center, as well as the building department, will remain closed to public walk-ins at this time. However, pre-arranged appointments can continue to be made. According to the province, we may remain in Step 2 for a period of approximately 21 days to allow the most recent vaccinations to reach their full effectiveness and to evaluate any impacts on moving to Step 2 on key public health and healthcare indicators. When it is determined to be safe, the province will move to Step 3 of the roadmap to reopen. And just in closing, a couple of comments. I'd just like to extend my sincere thanks to the mayor and deputy mayor and members of council for their ongoing support. It's been a long road, and it's nice to see that we feel at this point in time that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we'll move towards that with as a community. I'd like to encourage our community to follow the town's social media and our website for accurate and timely updates, as we're continuously trying to provide information as it comes available to our community. And finally, I'd like to further encourage everyone throughout our community to support our local businesses and establishments. We need to do it safely, respecting all public health measures that remain in place. But with the nicer weather here, it certainly would be wonderful to see people out walking our main streets again, visiting our shops, and perhaps having a meal on a patio. So with that, Mayor Milne, I'll turn things back to you, and I'd be more than happy to address any questions.
Question? Councillor Noye?
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to direct this to the CAO, just a comment, or maybe you can answer it for me or whatever. The federal government, as of July 1st, is releasing that you don't have to wear a face mask after 2 shots. Will the county of Simcoe adopt the same procedure? Are you aware of that, or have you heard anything on this, or could you fill me in on that, please?
CAO.
Thank you, Mayor Milne, and thank you for the question, Councillor Noye. Yes, I have been following what the federal government and the public health people have been developing with respect to fully vaccinated. I have not heard what the county of Simcoe has specifically will be doing with respect to that, but we will continue to follow all public health measures that the health unit recommends and suggests, and I would assume that they would follow along with the federal Canadian public health and that of the province. But we will certainly continue to follow along with that, and I'll update council as we go.
Thank you. Anyone else? We'll look for a mover and second. It'll be resolved that the following bylaws be read a first, second, and third time and enacted. Bylaw 21085, bylaw 21086, bylaw 21087, bylaw 21088, bylaw 21089, bylaw 2021-090, bylaw 21091, bylaw 21092. A mover and a seconder, please. Deputy Mayor and Councillor Foster, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Jebb?
Yes, Your Worship. It's unfortunate that Mr. Keel, he was having audio problems. So I was wondering if our clerk could ask him to send us what he wanted to say, because I think he had a little bit of a speech prepared, and it was unfortunate that he was having issues. So if he could send us what he was going to say to us, and then it could be shared, I'd appreciate that. I think he would too.
Thank you. Motion then be resolved that a bylaw 2021-093 to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting on June 28, 2021 be read a first, second, and third time enacted. Moved by Councillor Sainsbury, second by Councillor Beattie. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Jebb?
Thank you, Your Worship. I make the motion that we adjourn at 8:01.
Thank you. And we'll take a 5-minute break to let